Hey AI, what can you tell me about my time-based historian data? And that's how we interact with the time-based historian via the MCP server tools. We ask in natural language, and then this MCP client connects to the MCP server and retrieve all this data. Let's see. Based on the output, okay, it's telling me the tool that it chose to do that. Available data sets. Let's say the Juice Factory with 70 tags. Okay. Size in gigabytes and age of 12 days. Okay, that all matches. That's great. Thank you. Cooling tower. All right. So here's my demo that I'm running with only 6 tags in here. Ignition in Spark Plug B that I'm connecting that data. All right. So this is how we connect to an MCP server. Do you want to know more? Stay tuned. I'm going to show you an overview under the hood on how you can do that too. And that's not all. What if I want to use another large language model? I was using Ollama, now I'm using LM Studio. Can I use other MCP clients to connect to? And the answer is yes. Let's ask, list all the tools available in this MCP server. Tell me, what can I do with it? All right. So now here on the left-hand side, we have the Postman connection in there, and here's listing all the tools that are actually exposed in this MCP server. And here we ask in natural language and tells me, hey, all this, get this data set, get tags, fetch this, this, and that, create data set. Okay, so your agents now can not only read, but can actually write it back. All right, so this is all the scenarios. It's explaining to me everything. So now I don't need to be a programmer and hard code an API. This can be self-aware. Okay, we can browse every change in an MCP server without being hard coding on an API and use natural language. Okay, so now let's say, let me say get all tags in the Juice Factory. All right, let's see if that works. All right, okay, right there. Okay, all the 70 tags in there, the filler state, the temperature. All right, and that's how we do it. Want to know more? Are you sure? So I'm gonna show you everything. Wait, that's not all. There's my personal favorite, my own interface that I built in Python. Okay, so this is the time-based MCP chatbot by Tupinix, which is accessing my local large language model on Ollama and using the MCP server. Here there are some quick actions, some suggestions. Let's try show all available tools so we can compare with Postman. A few seconds later, it returns with a summarized version. It didn't list all the tools because my question here was actually, what can I do with the time-based historian, right? So then it was a summarized version here. You can query the tags, you can write it. All right, so this is more for a regular user. Would you like to proceed listing all the data sets? I'm gonna say yes. Okay, let's see what are all the data sets in there. Now I pulled here on the left hand side my time-based historian so I can see all my current data sets, and it's actually returned here what are the data sets available. All right, so here's my Juice Factory, cooling tower. All right, so now let's actually go into it. And today I'll show you all the ins and outs on how to connect Timebase by Flow Software new MCP server. So if you want to know more, stay tuned. And now I invite you to surf on the web and go to 2 websites. One, Flow Software /community. Here you can see our company there, located in there for North and South America. That's right. So we have another entity in Brazil. So if you're down in South America, you speak Spanish, si hablas español, or if you fala português, you can talk to us and then we're gonna get you going. Another website that I invite you to go to, it's the timebase.com. All right, so here you can see, look at this, the data historian, purpose built for AI. Look at that. If you come down here, free forever. Okay, so the basic functionalities are free forever. If you look in here, the MCP server, that's the one that I want to call your attention to. The commercially available MCP services provides to plug LLM and AI agent of your choosing, tested for free with the current beta. So This is the worst that it's ever gonna be. Okay, so if you want to test it right now, everything that you're seeing right now that has a lot of limitations, and keep in mind this is the beta version. Okay, so here you can see you want some support. They have some free support. You can have time-based support level agreement. Okay, so if you want to download, you hit this button in here. You can see all the requirements in the platform of your choosing. So once you get to the start here, you can install on Windows, you can install the Docker. So that's my personal favorite. That's how I like to do it. I like to use a Docker Compose. Here you can see the name, Timebase, all the services, the historian, the explorer, the simulator, the OPC way, and the MQTT, Spark B. You can install all of those. Here you have all the volumes, including the post. So the post is not being installed in here. So this is a little bit of leftover. They left it in here. If you want a nice Docker Compose stack, you can go to my friend Dylan Dufresne, and that's right. Here they have a time-based local historian stack. That's beautiful. Look at that, all the collectors in there and everything. So if I look at this Docker Compose file, this is what I really like it in here. Look. You can have the collectors and the dependencies. So this is just an improvement. Okay, so for you to run the collector, the historian need to be up on online. So it has a dependency in here. You can install the volumes in there using this is probably that file browser, which is going to have a nice user interface for you to interact with all your files in there. If you're using Portainer, that's how we run a lot of these YAML files. This is great. Okay, so again, go check it out. Dylan Dufresne and his time-based historian, and he has a very nice GitHub repo in here. And we have news that I can't share right now, but something very exciting coming up for Prove It 2026. He's gonna be one of my partners, and I'm really looking forward to share some of this information as we move along. His partner Glenn also knows a lot about manufacturing, a lot about ERP. If you haven't yet, check out his episode on the Manufacturing Hub podcast, where he gives a very nice lesson about ERP. So shout out to those guys in Abelara. So this company can really help you on digital transformation, some coaching, consultant, and integration. All right, so this is one of the guys that we work with. Great people. Go check them out. So after the installation, all you gotta do is configure your collector. Here I have a couple of collectors. I'm gonna look into this cooling tower where I'm getting the data via MQTT. Okay, so here I have some description, unit of measure, and the fields. Where is this data coming from? From my MQTT unified namespace in here. I say, hey, this is my enterprise, my plant level, my utilities, cooling tower. Here's my payload with the timestamp and value, which are the only things that change it all the time. Now with metadata, I have my unit of measure and the type, things that I call the static attributes. These things doesn't really change as often. Therefore, this must be in more of a relational, in a different kind of a namespace, so you can bring context to it. Okay, so now we're gonna look into the Explorer. Now, once we get that data login into the time-based historian, you can visualize on their own free Explorer tool. Okay, so very nice in here. I put in a new, look at this. If I hover my mouse in here, let's see if it says anything. New trend, look at that. Oh, open trend, I like it, huh? I think somebody did some beta testing and gave you guys some feedback, huh? And then you can hover your mouse in here. You can see what's going on. Okay, so this is a very nice thing you can do in here, this frame. Okay, so now here I have my level, that band, and then here I have my conductivity, and I want to look what's my level in relation to the conductivity here in my cooling tower. Look at that. If I want to know any specific time frame, I can make this bigger, or I can zoom all that into that very specific cycle and pinpoint what I'm looking at. Okay, so here's the level. I can have another banding here, conductivity, always with the upper and low control limit. Where is this coming from? This one is a Sparkplug B. So all we did here was collect a bunch of data from sensors, not even going to the PLC. We bypassed that through the IIoT port, okay? And then we got this data in ignition. We normalize, we contextualize it in there. So now we format it in there. So this is being straight from ignition, okay, to the Series Link module. It goes to enterprise plant 1, utilities cooling tower, all the way here, my upper and my lower limits. Okay, here I can change all of this. I can make it red. I can make it whatever I like. I would like to have dotted lines in here. I'm going to show you how I would like to have that actually. Okay, so this is my preference on how to visualize. I would like to have the main tagging in here and the upper and the lower limits here with dashed lines. I wish I could do that, okay? So here I can look at the last hour, I can go on the last 5 minutes. I can see when my makeup valve opened and therefore my level in the cooling tower start going up, okay? Once that valve closed, the level going down, okay? So here I can really look into this. So this is all from a compact logic into MQTT to that unified namespace, bringing into historian, but bringing it into the Timebase and looking at it. My name is Ricardo Santos, the Industry 4.0 facilitator. Do you need anything? I know a guy. I can facilitate introductions, facilitate meetings, and get you going in Industry 4, more specifically on IIoT and how to handle industrial data. Now, let's see under the hood. If you've seen my content before, I was one of the beta testers for the Timebase on version 0, and now that they just released their beta again for the MCP server, now I'm here testing and giving you some feedback. So here we go. Now, talking about Timebase Historian MCP server on the beta version, remember that. So if you're curious like me, this is the best place to start. So it's gonna tell you about MCP, the Model Context Protocol. There's a lot of things out there developed by Anthropic. If you know, this was basically maybe November last year, and a lot of people are adopting, a lot of companies are adopting. Again, this is the very beginning. Again, guys, this is a beta version, a beta testing for everybody. And here's where to find and how to access on your URL of your historian/MCP. Okay, you can do a curl method in there via HTTP, and then you're just gonna return something. Of course, it's a stateless connection. You need to accept some headers in there, but you can do that on Postman. All right, so here again, HTTP, MCP, and not STDIO. Okay, so this is very important. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Right, so following that documentation, you can open Postman, you can click in new, and here you have HTTP, GraphQL, but remember MCP, and look at this, again, beta, all right? This Model Context Protocol is an open standard that enables to build secure two-way communication between their data sources and AI-powered tools. This is what we're going to do, all right? So we selected that. Okay, remember, not STDIO, but HTTP. Okay, so now we're gonna use JSON remote procedure call RPC, and this is the address, and I already tested in there, and then I hit connect, and that's it. So now these are all the tools and prompts that this MCP server is exposing to the MCP client. Okay, so here you can see all the tools, update dataset, get dataset by name. So this is everything that is available right now. What if this changes? This will be updated automatically. Remember, that's the main difference from an API, from a RESTful API, a SOAP, whatever you decided to do. You're not hard coding the function calls, the tools, okay? So this is auto-discoverable, all right? So let's see how we can configure this on the other side. Okay, so one of the many ways that you can run large language models in your machine is to run Ollama. Okay, so you can come here on the models, you can see the models that are available, DeepSeek, the Qwen, Llama3.2. Okay, so all of these, Mistral, they are all in there. So very important thing, they need to support these tools. Okay, for you to be able to work with MCP servers, you need to support this tool. Okay, so you're gonna come in here based on your hardware. Okay, so you're gonna pick a model that best suits your hardware. Probably between 7 and 8 billion is a good size. Okay, less than that, it's not gonna give you the return that you want. And 3270, okay, you really need a powerful machine to run it. So I recommend that you stay between 4 and 8 billion parameters, top 14 for you to do that. Okay, with a model that supports tools. And now with this model installed, it's time to run. Okay, so I decided to run this model right here. This is my graphical interface. Okay, so what can you do? All right, so now I'm talking to my large language model, my local here, not accessing the internet. Okay, yeah, it can be used in a variety of ways. All right, so and this interface is not very user-friendly, so we decided to install Open WebUI in a Docker container and point to this local large language model that I'm running right here. Okay, so now with this very nice and pretty interface, I can select my model right here. Okay, so I'm gonna select Qwen and I'm gonna say, what can you tell me about my historian MCP server? Can you see the data available? Let's see what is going to return. Oh no, let's see what a regular large language model would return. Say, hey, I'm an assistant right here. Okay, I don't have any directions. However, I can provide some information and guidance. It's gonna tell me, basically saying, hey, you're running a large language model. I have no idea where the tools are. What are you talking about? I don't have any access. That's why we installed here a tool. Okay, so now this is the MCP function that connects to your Timebase historian. Let's see what happens when I enable this. Boom. Let's see. Now I enabled my MCP client. Now I can connect to the Timebase historian MCP server. It's gonna look into the tools and it's probably gonna see, hey, I have a tool here that I can list the data sets for you. All right, that's it. Based on the output, MCP, Timebase historian, get data sets from historian. Look at that. Available data sets is just thinking, is looking in there. If that changes, it's gonna change dynamically. Okay, so again, this is not being hard coded. This is looking in there, key information. All right, so look at that. All right, look at this. This is very important. Okay, so this is basically metadata. This is information about the data. It's saying that the number of tags is the data points, the size, okay, is in gigabytes, and the age is in days. Okay, does an analysis telling me a lot more than I wanted to know. I just want to know about the data sets, but this is great to talk about the data volume. It says they occupy this much of hard space sitting there. All right, so look at this. If I am in IT and I need to manage my historian, all right, I can talk to it. Okay, I can get this, I can put in my presentation, I can do whatever I want, I can talk to it. And now I'm going to switch my model. This one is a 7 billion parameters. This one is only 3, so it's less than half. I'm going to ask, can you access? No. All right, I'm going to enable my tools and I'm going to ask the same thing right now. And remember, looking in here, 2 tools available. Your model needs to support tools, needs to support an MCP client. And here, okay, now it tells me about my data sets. All right, looking in there, cooling towers. Use another large language model. Okay, so same MCP client but using another model. And now let's switch it up. Let's use LM Studio. Okay, so looking at the models, remember DeepSeek and all that, Qwen, you need to look for the tools, the ones that has the tools. This model has been trained for tools. So once you select one of these, you can download and then it's gonna be available for you to choose, for you to load. Okay, here I loaded one of the models for me, I came in here, I got that started and all that. Okay, so here's the first one is the Chainlit, the chatbot here with my LM Studio. Let's see, certainly. Okay, so T for timestamp, value, and quality. Okay, so it's gonna tell me that timestamps represents the T, the V. Okay, this is great. If you like what you've seen so far and want to take a look under the hood, let me know. I'm putting together a small group of people that are reaching out so we can share some screen on a webinar, on Discord, or whatever, just to share this content with the community. If you want to learn more with me, follow me and follow our page Tupinix on social media. And I invite you to visit our website on www.tupinix.com. Here we're gonna talk about digital transformation and what's that strategy, okay? How to connect operations to Industry 4, to connect, collect, store, analyze, visualize all the patterns in there. Here are the most common challenges with data silos, legacy machines, limited visibility. You need real-time decision making, okay? So here's talking about why Tupinix. Here tagging along on the UNS, the unified namespace. So if you want to have a unified namespace in your factory, run a proof of concept, let us know. Here's what we do. We do a digital maturity assessment. We see how ready you are. If you have a strategy, do you have a digital statement? Okay, so what's the vision? From there, we build a roadmap, strategic planning based on your evaluation. Your evaluation will tell you where you are, how ready you are, and a roadmap is going to be how to get there. From there, we can run some proof of concept, okay? Really 3 months proof of concept to get it going. Is that what you want? Choose the right technology, okay? And then we go from there. We build the foundation, and then we go to a pilot, and then we reiterate, okay? From there, we go to a rollout here, to a pilot, okay? Sustainable adoption and change management, okay? Our biggest challenge in digital transformation, of course, it is the adoption of the tools. Many times we create nice dashboards and tools out there and nobody uses. So the factory needs to adopt. So we help you with that. Okay, so how can we change that mindset? So our technology partners in here, Ignition Litmus, a little bit of the technology that we use it in there, in industries that we serve, mostly in food and beverage. I work with food and beverage for about 15 years now. I came from energy before that, from generation, transmission. So almost 20 years doing databases and writing protocols. So we have our headquarters in the US and also a very recent entity down in Brazil. Okay, so here you can take a free self-assessment. How is that? If you want to start, if you don't know, this is gonna bring you awareness. So okay, so here you can click on take the assessment now. It's gonna bring you to a nice form. So after lunch, you can click in here and just start answering these questions. Okay, you're going to receive on your email a self-assessment that you're gonna learn. You're gonna know what to look for. Okay, and if you need expert guidance, you can talk to us in here too. All right, and now some final considerations. This agent's talking about the frameworks. If you've seen it, I've actually used some Python MCP bridge, some LangGraph here. The MCP Server Historian is an add-on available for use for free while in beta. So remember, so it's in the very beginning, see licensing, okay? So remember that when you're talking about everything that is us, is still in beta testing. And now let's dive a little deeper into this Timebase Historian MCP server, okay? So one of the tools that are available is get all data sets, okay? So this is the method that we're gonna call an HTTP call in there on JSON. Remote procedure call. This is what returns a text, the juice factory. But look at this, PA, PS, the CA. So it doesn't tell me what it is, okay? So from what I could see, there is no actual metadata and actual context for this. I'm gonna show you why this matters. And now if I want to get just a specific data set, I can copy that all data sets in here. I can do the same thing, call that procedure. It's going to tell me again, just the name, the C that maybe stands for count. maybe stands for the number of tags. Or what's the unit of measure? A, is that age? Is that age in days, in years? I don't know. Okay, so here's something that I could not find, and here's why. Because today on the MCP server doesn't have metadata about the data sets, so I had to hard code it in here. So if you look, I have to say that C stands for count, okay, S for size in gigabytes, and 8 for days. So when I didn't do this, it says, hey, have an additional attribute, or C is for count or frequency. It wasn't sure. It gave me the age in years because it saw there was 0.2 or like only 2 or 4, so it thought it was years. So when you don't have metadata information, context information about that data, it's going to make an assumption, and depending on your language model will give you different answers. But here I had to hard code this into my Python bridge. So when you look at in here, after I did that, I brought some context, and now it tells me exactly, and that matches my historian, because I had to do a little bit of data manipulation, which is not how we want to do this in a long term. But again, this is beta, guys. Let's remember that. If you are already in the industry space and wants to know more about AI, this is the things that I recommend you look into. Go look into how to run local models, okay? Go look into Ollama, LM Studio. Go look into supervised fine-tuning. What's a CAG and a RAG, a retrieval augmented generation. Let's look into MCP, a vector database. Most importantly, Python, okay? So you need to learn Python, Anaconda, and pip install. So these are all the things that you need for the Industry 4 to connect industrial data with AI. You need to learn about STDIO, the standard input output, versus the HTTP for more real-time data, which is the MCP server that Timebase uses. About SSE, server sent events, about JSON-RPC, which is a stateless, lightweight remote procedure call. Let's see what else. So if you want to learn more about it, let me know. And let's remember the MCP in its very beginning. We're talking about just over 6 months ago. We're talking about a tool that is available less than a year, okay? So things are gonna get involved. This is the worst it's ever going to be, and this is how you need to get to the Holy Grail. And Ricardo, what do you need first? What's your first step, okay? You cannot measure what you cannot see. So first you need to connect to that data. You need somehow access to that machine for you to be able to connect. After you connect, you start collecting that data and storing that data. All right, and then you can visualize, because also you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So once you can see, you can measure, and then you can improve. Okay, and what's the Holy Grail? This is it. So when you get that foundation with a unified namespace with a UNS, and then you structure your model, you bring context, you normalize, and now you are bringing AI into it. Okay, so this is the Holy Grail. This is where we want to go. Okay, now that's how we can interact. Are we there yet? No, but we are very close to it. There are a lot of tools that are becoming MCP ready. So if you're following, HiByte also launched their MCP server, also in beta. Okay, so come on guys, let's take it easy. Okay, it's not ready quite yet, but again, Service exposes the pipeline, uses the API trigger for AI agents. Okay, same thing. So if you are interested in see a demo like this on HiByte, let me know. We can always do that too. And now with Litmus, same thing. About 3 weeks ago, they released this on GitHub, which is an MCP server to connect to their Litmus Edge. Okay, so this is gonna do the same thing, expose all their tools in there. This is actually a Docker container that you can install inside of Litmus Edge in there too. So remember, guys, A lot of these things are still in beta version. It's still a lot of testing. Okay, so we're gonna get there, and you need to get ready. So until a few months ago, I used to say, if you don't have a unified namespace, you won't be ready for when we can connect AI to the unified namespace. But now I changed my speech. So now if you don't have a unified namespace, you are way too late. Yeah, but I can integrate everything with an API. Let's remember, guys, when you're using API, most likely you're hard coding functions. The biggest advantage of the MCP is that it's auto-discoverable. You're making the tools available at the server level. So whenever you update this, all the tools are gonna be updated. So if you're using another large language model and you update that too, that's great. So it's going to connect to the server. It's gonna see all the tools available in there. Whenever you upgrade that server, also more tools will be exposed, and another iteration will be exposed to those large language models that are using this. Okay, so this is the advantage of the MCP, and we will get there very soon. And this is why architecture matters. The same thing with the unified namespace. Whenever you're generating data, it needs to come from the edge, and the edge is the lowest level possible. If you can publish that raw data from a sensor or from a PLC, that's great. So we publish that to a raw namespace. From there, we normalize, we contextualize, and then we put into the unified namespace. We have a different namespace, the functional namespace, the description namespace, and then you need a solutions architect to make sure you're using the best one for your use case, for your business. All that starts from the foundation. And as we all know, the beautiful thing about the MQTT is that the client that publishes that data, so it's edge driven. Okay, so I publish that data. I don't go to the server and I configure exactly the data that I want from the client. So the client can say all the tools that are available, everything, all the data that is available here at the client, I publish it out. And then whenever you organize that, it's regardless of the consumers. Remember, instead of doing a point-to-point integration where you're thinking about who's publishing and who's subscribing, no, you need to publish that, organize in a way that doesn't matter whoever is going to consume the data now and in the future. And whenever you consume that raw data, most importantly, the raw data needs to return back with information. So now you go from data to information all the way up to the wisdom, but that data cannot die in a data silo. That data needs to be published back to the unified namespace so you can use the data properly to other clients in the future. And say hi to Puppy. She's been here with me the whole time, right on my knees, right, Puppy? Right on my foot. Her name is Daisy Girl. Say hi, Daisy Girl. This puppy is 10 years old. Oh, Puppy.